What's going on? Drew here with Craft Show Digital. Today we're launching a new little series. It'll be sporadic throughout the channel, but we're going to call these spot checks. And what they are is where we take one of our spots that we worked on, maybe somebody else's spot, and we just do a breakdown on it. Quick, easy, maybe. This spot certainly looks simple, but was very, very tricky to pull off. And this spot is for the University of Southern Mississippi. It's a general recruiting, brand anthem type spot. The interesting side of this project was that we followed students, one student a day for 4 days, and then we built this 30-second off of it. We also then created little mini documentaries. Once those come out, I will do spot checks on each one of those because they're all different, and we're very proud of them. So is the school. And so we're very blessed to have them as a client. We're very grateful, but I'm so excited about this particular piece. I can't wait to show it to you. So we'll start out with actually running the spot, no commentary or talking through, but I'll go ahead and get that queued up. And again, I'm not going to post this spot directly to our YouTube yet. You can find it over, I'll post a link in the notes if you want to see the actual spot in higher resolution. Again, we only send them 1080 files because of television and everything else they go through. Here's the spot for you to enjoy.
We're very passionate in the way that we do things, in the way that we pride ourselves in carrying this university's name.
There's no other feeling like it in the world.
My sisters in my sorority, my friends on campus, the staff, faculty, all those people have really pushed me to kind of become the person I am today.
And I think Southern Miss does a great job of building habits for life after college.
There was something special that brought us here. There's nothing stopping you from doing what you want. Southern Miss can get you there.
All right, there you go. There's the spot. There's what it was, rather. I'm going to see if I can get the looping going. I don't remember my hotkeys on my Mac here. Let's see. So I'm going to mute the spot down. I'm going to turn their audio off altogether. I'm going to hit 2. I'm going to do this. Pop. Where am I? Why am I not here? How did I not end up in the bottom corner? Don't really know. That's odd. Well, either way. So I cut these raw, guys. So I'm going to play the spot again and we'll talk through it. You know what my face looks like. So we'll play the spot again and we'll just talk through it some. But the idea behind this, as you noticed probably from the play, there's too many mice. As you noticed from the play side of things, what we ended up doing here was doing selective color. And it wasn't as simple as we thought it was going to be, where we, initially when we did some testing, it was like, oh, cool, we can qualify their gold. Southern Miss's colors are black and gold, and we can take those black and gold elements. Black, very easy, not a problem. The gold, it'll stand out, it'll highlight, and it'll track. But once we actually got into the project, and once we started getting a little bit closer, and we filmed actually the very first sequence, as I mentioned earlier, we filmed 4 students. We followed a student per day for 4 days. And once we started filming them, we found that sometimes the gold elements we added, so in many cases we've added gold to this. When we added gold to the spots, certainly more prominent again in the documentary portions of this, but when we added these gold pieces, some of them were too much, and it got to be a little too much, and it got to be a point of balancing stuff out. So the way that we put this together and the way that the process worked, I really wish the stupid on-screen gimmick. Oh, it's because I didn't hit the button. There I am. I'll move myself down here. The way that this ended up coming together at the end of the day was that we had to go through and figure out how to see things and also manage the client expectations. So while we were filming on set, we brought our monitor and we turned our monitor. We had a LUT created that turned our monitor black and white. Obviously, we couldn't do a selective LUT, and plus, you wouldn't want to do that anyway. It would look terrible. So we filmed everything, or as we were filming everything, we'd set up the shots. Both interviews and everything was shot with the idea of filming in black and white. And we had Jeff Worley, colorist extraordinaire, on set with us, who did the majority of this work. A lot of rotoscope work turned out, but we filmed it on set. We would view things in black and white to make sure they looked the way we wanted them to. And then we would build from there. So we'd add gold elements and we would just guesstimate. At the end of the day, when we went into post, there was a lot of gold elements that we tracked. So we basically went through the process of tracking all the gold elements, selective color, pulling them out. Some of them are very difficult. Some of them were easy. But when we pulled those out, we would go back and we'd watch it with the client, and the client would turn around and say, hey, I think that's too much gold in this particular area, or we feel like it's distracting. And so we were able to turn those off. The process on the filming side of things was, in addition to that, was making sure that we framed with gold in mind, and that we found locations that were relevant and we tied things in. And so it just became this interesting balance of looking for gold all the time. And what ended up happening to all of the crew on the project, client included, is we all just started seeing gold. It took about 2 or 3 weeks for us to stop seeing gold, and then we started post-production. And for me, I got stuck in the habit of looking for gold in all these shots, and I know Worley did as well as he went through it. Part of the way that we had to do this was through rotoscope. So we would track something, we would rotoscope it. Jeff would by hand do some of the rotoscope work. It was all done in DaVinci. And so from a technical side of things, I'll give you guys the breakdown because I know a lot of you like it. This was all shot on Sony cameras. So it was Sony FX3 and FX6. There is some Blackmagic footage mixed into this, and I think there might even be some red footage mixed in, because we used some archival footage just to add a little more texture to the spot. But we did use a variety of different cameras, and they all work the same process, right? Jeff would grade the footage. He would get color grade it. So he would literally grade it in color. Then he'd do his black and white conversion because he has a very kind of proprietary method in which he does black and white. And then we would go back through and selective color and roto or track or whatever we had to do to get the color elements in play. And what we think stands out about it, the reason we went through this process and attacked this, is, as I mentioned earlier, USM's color palette is black and gold. That's a very important part of any college culture, is you wear the college colors. It becomes part of it. But for us, we also wanted to make sure that our spot didn't look like any other college spot we had seen. And so at the time, doing our research and doing the creative and the pre-production side of things, I had never seen a spot that used selective color quite like this. In a way, certainly a university or college or higher ed spot. And so we wanted to make sure that when we attacked it, we went that route. Now, the documentaries, the way that we worked through the post-production process is Jeff would grade each one of the or I would edit each one of the documentary pieces. All 4 of them are completely different. They have different styles and tone and feel. In fact, all 4 have their own unique names, as if we were treating these like individual films. And then Jeff would go through and do the color process, as I mentioned. Once we locked each one of these 4, which was a bit of a beast because you're making 4 independent short films that stand alone, that the only connection is that they all take place at this university. But once we took all 4 of those and built them out, from there we took the graded footage, the approved shots, and then we were able to build this 30-second spot that will roll out. It's actually out now. And so we were able to roll that out. But that's the challenge in it, right? So one of the things is it's deceptively simple. It gets a wow from everyone. It gets a nice little emotion, but it really does magic when you connect this spot to the other 4. And this is the concept of campaign development, right? It's not just an idea of one cool spot, but how can we make for the client and for the student and all the stakeholders at play, whether it's alumni, whether it's prospective students, current students, the staff. We needed to make sure that the content we created was compelling, that told a story and worked. So this really is almost like a trailer. If you think of it that way, this is like a trailer for audiences to hopefully see this and then see the individual shorts and connect to one of the shorts. We didn't expect anyone to connect to all 4. We certainly, even as a filmmaker, it was a challenge for me to attempt to connect to all 4. And I had to, there's a lot of back and forth. Some pieces were stronger than others. There was elements of a relationship where Hayes, for example, football player here, I related to Hayes, I'm not an athlete by any means, but I relate to it because as a male, I get it. Whereas with Amelia, the young lady in the gold jacket, that was a little bit of a challenge because for me, I'm not a young lady that's gone through sorority and rushed. And then with Connor, same thing. Connor is a member of fraternity. And so we worked really hard to make sure that these were organic, rich stories. And that's what comes through in the spot to some extent. You're not getting their whole story. You're getting an overview. But the way we hoped it would play out is that it will drive more traffic to a landing page, website, or whatever they're doing, but also drive this concept of ready for life. And that's what each one of these short stories were able to do. We did have to code these a little bit differently because after a while, calling them shorts got to be confusing because people started thinking they were YouTube shorts, which is totally frustrating for me vernacular wise, but that's what we did. So we actually called the long form documentary series Pants. And then we called the shorts because we did create shorts for YouTube. And then we also have the 30-second TV spot version of it. That's it. That's the spot check. If you have any other questions about it, whatever, throw some comments in there. We'll get it done. But I just wanted to share it with you guys and gals and folks because I thought it was a pretty good spot. I think it's very interesting. There's a lot of technical production that went into it. There's a tremendous amount of creative that went into it. Our crew alone consisted of myself, Jeff Worley, so 2 camera operators, a 3rd cam op who also AC'd. His name is Thorne. And shout out to his project. If you haven't seen it, there's a project going around called Underground Pizza. Totally go seek it out. Maybe consider donating a little funding if you'd like to, but it's a cool story and it's shot really well. And we had Susie, who was our hair and makeup specialist, because we want to make sure everybody looked good. And then we also had Joel, who was our art department coordinator, and Patty, who was our other assistant camera. Joel's job was to selectively place gold elements into the frame. So using art department to add gold. So we had so many little gold elements all the way through. There was lots of little Easter eggs that are only for us. And you guys should probably do that stuff too. But we went through and had this great team. Though, if you note, that's only 7 people. So we had a very small production team in order to pull off a pretty epic spot. And it wasn't that it was a grinder by any means. We weren't getting destroyed every day. We just made it happen, and we made it happen because we used our skill set as filmmakers in order to tell these stories, knowing that that was the end goal. And from that, we said, hey, maybe we can make a cool 30-second spot from it. And that's what we did. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you have any other questions, again, see, I don't even cut out the screw-ups because I think that's stupid. Feel free to throw any comments, questions, or whatever in the comments, and I'll get back to you as best as I can. Also, if you enjoy the spot checks, let me know in the comments. That'd be great. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It always helps. And more content on its way. Thanks for hanging out. I got to find my mouse, the right mouse. There's 26 mouses over here. Mice? Mices? Thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.